Hello and welcome to the June 7th edition of Angora Poets World Caffe, where we are a collection of poets and spoken word people and performance artists from the four corners of our planet. So we welcome people with different styles and different origins, and also we encourage people to read in a language other than English, because that we were founded to be a world cafe, and we pride ourselves in having the sensitivity and awareness to listen to people who read in a language other than English. Okay, so that's basically it. We're going to go 2 rounds, and my job is to say hello and welcome. And if you're new to this group, you can find us on Angora Poets World Cafe Facebook page, Angora Poets World Cafe YouTube, and beginning in about 24 hours, you will see the Angora Poets World Cafe website. We are growing online. Okay, so what I would like, welcome everybody. I want to welcome to this nice crew where, we have no features because everybody's a featured poet. So what can I do? But we call on a whole bunch of featured poets tonight. And I would like to begin tonight with a woman who's joined us from the Czech Republic, and she happens to be a steward of a group called Poets Unplugged, and her name is Bunny Bahal. Bahal?
Hi,
Hi,
Bihal.
Bunny. Bihal. Okay,
Hi, thank you.
so we're what? Okay, Bunny, why don't we all mute ourselves and ask Bunny to present her work, please?
Well, yeah, you guys don't need to mute yourself because I like the feedback. And
Yeah,
when
but
everybody's
telephones
muted,
work.
then you don't get no feedback.
That's okay. You'll get feedback.
Okay.
It helps with transmission interference is what it's for.
Okay, good. Let me pull it up here. I'm gonna read 4 poems, always one in Czech and the same one translated into English. Well, it was done the other way around. It was first written in English and then translated into Czech.
Very good. We welcome it.
So the first poem is called Temnota. Co omlouvá temnotu?
Now, wait, I'm sorry. You have to give us a brief explanation of what the poem is about.
Okay, the poem is, do you want me to maybe read the English poem first?
Oh, it's your call.
Would that be better? Yeah, I think that would be better.
Thank you.
So the poem is called Darkness. What excuses the darkness of the time specs when 2 weeks long your voice in your head says, coronavirus, you're lethal. In slight distress, alone I stand, heart filled with people crying from far away. Everybody see the pain? Somewhere far away are people dying. By Sophia Behal. And the translation, temnota, co omlouvá temnotu časového slotu, když celé 2 týdny hlasy přehrávají, koronavirus, ty jsi smrtící, v lehkém stresu sama stojím asi třesu, srdce naplněné lidským pláčem, co slyším vzdáleně. Všichni cítíte tu bolest? Někde v dálce umírají lidé. By Sofia Behalova. In Czech, there's always the ova hanged on the name, so. And the second one is Wuhan. Wu, is it you? Long ago, ye here, ye there, go low. It drives me nuts, all the stats. 1,000 infections, every hour races. Wuhan, we promise, Corona, we never let you in. So I cried a tear. What about next year? Let's pray to the Lord, it's our own world. By Sofia Behal. And the translation in Czech is Wuhan, Wu, si to ty? Je to pár let, rok tam, rok sem. Kde jsme? O rozum mě přivádí čísla statistiky, tisíce nakažených. Každou hodinu se pocíti zvýšují. Wuhan slibujeme koroně, výhru víru nedovolíme. Slzy tečou z ok. A co bude příští rok? Modleme se k Pánu Ať jsme světu dánu. By Sofia Bihalova. That was it. Your microphones!
Learning this is
Yay, bravo,
limited
Bunny.
story.
Bravo.
All right, bravo.
Yes,
That,
Very
I
much.
must tell you,
lovely poem.
I must, go ahead, I'm sorry.
It was good.
Thank you very much. It's taken out of my book. Hashtag
Whoa.
Wuhan. Here it is.
That's your
This is
book.
Wuhan too. It's out of Wuhan, out of the white one, yeah. I have a blue one and white one.
Okay.
Wonderful.
And I'd like to say that in Angora Poets, we've had people read in Serbian and Russian and Hungarian and Finn. And this is the first time from Eastern Europe we've heard someone read, well, Central Europe, excuse me. We've heard someone read in Czech. So kudos for that too. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, it was
Hear
my
it in your
pleasure.
language. It was
Well
really
done.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
So there was somebody else who talked about a need to come on early. And was that you, Patricia?
I'm leaving in about 2 hours because I have to do a lot
Oh.
of cooking.
Well, do you think you'll have enough time in 2 hours to read
Yeah,
that
it's
poem?
okay. Yeah, I can wait. It's okay.
Okay. Well, since I called on you anyway, would you like to read now?
Okay, why not?
That'd be a pleasure.
Okay. Strange fruit. Asphyxiation knows the hangman's knot, hands pressing down on necks and chests, the taking of knees to crush black breath. A systemic virus, a firestorm travels north, south, east, and west. Sweet magnolias with blood on leaves and stems burn alongside flesh and cities. An upside-down Bible, an upside-down government, an upside-down flag at half-mast. Trees bear strange fruit, never-ending harvests rot across the land. Thank you.
Very nice. Wonderful.
Oh, that's super.
Very nice.
Yeah,
I
powerful
had
one,
goosebumps.
Patricia. Very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very appropriate for the present time we're in.
Yeah, thank you. And this is what kept me up. This other poem kept me up last night. I returned to it due to a bad time in that happened to me in 2009.
Okay.
The Graduate. It's a prose piece. Hope I have enough time. The Graduate. Mom asked if I could write a poem for my niece who was graduating from college. For inspiration, I found an 8x10 studio portrait of Mom in her cap and gown. She looked pensive, intelligent, and pretty, her head tilted to the side to please the photographer. The photo captured her in a rare, optimistic moment. My mind drifted, and I wrote about my mother instead. Mom's father left home when she was 10. When her mother said Daddy was never coming back, my jubilant mom skipped across the street and almost got hit by a car. Luckily, the driver stopped in time. Mom was glad that her mama threw her father out. He cheated on Mama and deprived the family of decent housing, amenities, and especially love. Whenever Mom disobeyed, her father would either beat her with the strap or make her kneel in the corner, holding her chair above her head. His abuse didn't end after her punishment. Once her father brought home a doll with saucer blue eyes and thick blonde curls. Thinking it was for her, Mom's eyes grew as large as the doll's until she learned that it was a gift for a client's daughter. He gave her permission to hold the doll briefly before placing it back in the box. Mom brought home a tiny gray and white cat. Her mama thought that the kitten would be a good mouser and poured milk in the china dish for it to drink. When Mom's father came home from his real estate job, he saw the cat and lost his temper. Not even cuteness could soften his hatred for felines. He snatched the animal and threw it out the window. This was probably the real reason why Mom never wanted a cat in our apartment. Mom's Ukrainian mother and grandmother were both uneducated. Their mannerisms never left the old country. Both women had broken marriages, and their American dream was poverty. Her mama, a single parent, raising 2 daughters, earned a living sweating over a grill on Wall Street, and her grandmother, Baba, worked as a maid on the Upper West Side until age and declining health interfered. Mom, being the eldest daughter, went to work after graduation. Her mama and Baba her mama and Baba needed help to pay the rent on Walton Avenue in the Bronx. Her high school diploma guaranteed her opportunities to either stick manila folders into drab olive green files or stand on her feet all day, ringing up sundries at a local department store. College was reserved for young ladies from more affluent homes who would marry equally affluent males. Mom was expected to marry and stay at home with the kids. At 25, she had to hurry up to find an eligible bachelor for financial support. She did meet my father and made plans for marriage. She didn't know that her husband-to-be would be afflicted by debt, drinking, gambling, and most of all, bad luck. His promotion lived inside a pipe dream. He would bottle up his anger at work and let it loose at home. Family altercations became stories shared between Mom and me. The years logged in our regrets. After graduating from college, I strove to be positive in spite of escalating pressure at a toxic job and the odds of not finding love or having children. Most of all, I tried not to be like my mother. This past Tuesday was my birthday, and yesterday I celebrated my niece's graduation up in Medford, Massachusetts. However, negative events usually occur during my birthday month. Something ominous clouded my return to New York. I had these dreams 2 nights in a row, the darkened offices and being escorted off the premises. Thank you.
Wow, that was deep.
Powerful. Very
Thank you so
powerful.
much.
Yes.
This happened to me in 2009. It took me
Okay.
a long time to finally fix this up.
Patricia. Hi.
Hi, John. Hi, John.
Okay.
Jack,
Did
Jack,
Tufts
Jack. Huh?
So, okay.
graduate from Tufts?
Yeah, she did.
Hmm.
I can afford him.
Mm. Okay. So I want to welcome, hello, Karen Scott.
Hello.
Hi. And so where are you hailing from this evening or this afternoon?
Columbus, Ohio.
This afternoon. Okay. Well,
Right.
welcome.
Prince McNally told me about it.
Okay. Good. All right. So you will be presenting for us on this Zoom. I wanted to say this evening. It is in Paris. Are you going to present for us this afternoon?
I think I'm just here this week.
Okay. Well, if you get any ideas, we're willing to listen. How's that?
Okay, sounds great.
Might move you to contribute. Okay, good. So, all right. So next, I would like to call up the person we have highlighted this week from last week's Angora Zoom session and recording. And I want to call up the Jersey judge. Call up the judge, Bill Strangmeyer. Hello, Bill. Unmute, Bill.
Okay, got it. Okay, I call this a day at the refectory. The past is invading like the hourglass. Okay, all those joys we loved and spoke of then are gone and faded now before the will of chimpanzees who wished for grit and laughed at motor oil and sand. The lilt of anger feeds their smirks and leads us into mires of smoke blown up our asses by their wind. The morning broke like fire into life, and just like puzzle pieces from a box, my dreams spilt into flames. I saw then the machine come in boxes. She did too, the scruffy girl who seemed to think she should be wearing spots of makeup made of dust or dirt or rouge. Assemble the machine, the big one said, and eat the paper, step by step, so no one can repeat each step, undo, repair, or sabotage. I looked in disbelief. He smiled and said, well, if it's hard, the girl can work and eat the paper. Then she's yours to have. He laughed. She glared. I saw fire. I saw the fire damped. I, too, was blank. He laughed again and clapped his hands. He left the room, command stamped on his face. We set to work and choked down paper at each step. The cardboard cage of stiff restraints and plastic manacles burst into dusty trash, dissolved into the air as we both felt emotionless, akin to that machine and devoid of all but husk. But she was there and waking up. I wished to help. I wished the good. I wanted not to play. Outside the office was the day, and clerks, too, roamed the halls. We blocked the doors with spindly chairs like in the movies, keeping out police and managers and also orders to the soul. What would she do, the fighter girl? What could the will accomplish? What the soul and what the grit? The fog came in and spoke its words, the fog in guinea teas. The girl was set for miracles. I fought against desire to flee. Her brilliance and my fortitude were what I've kept to weave a dream that won't come true. I've been replaced. She's disappeared. Romance was never there. The spark of mind, the flames of will were swallowed down like bits of rules they wrote on scraps of cardboard cases for the robots built by us against our laws, against the words we spit like flames, doused in the flow of their gospel, their time epistle to us fools.
Okay, Mr. Bill, you got a second one.
Yeah. Okay. Ariadne in mourning. Dried up and waiting, but not for the damp, waiting for cellophane, waiting for fuzz, waiting for the buzz and the quick but foiled escape. Kind, we might say, right thinking and charitable for those thoughts, for the victims, thoughts about victims. Goddess, oh goddess, our grammar is Greek and our words ancient, set in place by beasts with hairy red teeth. Death and rebirth, rebirth into what containers have been left, predators and prey, intelligent and fey, those of the light and those of the dark, to sing and twitter, to laugh and to bay at the moon. But the president's girlfriend laughs like a hyena. She has no choice.
I just wonder who you might be speaking of.
Grace, Grace.
I like that a lot. That was
Right.
nice.
Well
Wow.
done.
Thank
Was
you.
intense.
Well done, Bill. Well done.
Great.
Thanks.
And
Yeah.
do you have, as we say, three's a charm?
Yes. This bed goes so fast, goes so slow, and choices made in haste or anger do not foresee regret, sometimes admit of no return. The tumble-down houses and slums of desire are sprinkled with scraps and the factories churn. They churn out stray dogs and lost boys roam the now empty lots seeking food, seeking slavery's bond. A preposterous thought if you never have tried it. Seeing everywhere a face, that one special face. Oh, a very conceit, that one special face, and more so as ages pass by. Where lies the duty when lying is done? I admitted no duty in that time now gone. Yearning we grow, yearning for approval, for the approved thing, only to find it a shadow. Once I did not know, and now I know too well, the trickery of my own dear past, and a mind in iron cast. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you very
Well
much.
done.
Okay.
Bill. Bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bilious.
Yeah, Billy is from the judge. We call Bill the judge. You'll understand in quick time when you listen to his indictments. He issues some strong shit from the bench. Okay, so let's see now. Let's see what the wind does. We're going to go across the water here, and we're going to go up to Ireland into the countryside, into the deep countryside of Ireland. And we're going to ask Miss Amy Berry to read. And I want you to all know in advance that there's some strong winds gusting over the island, and it can cause some interference. But Amy's going to give it a try, and we're going to listen. So hi, Amy.
Hi, everyone. Now.
Hi, Amy.
Hi. Okay.
Hey, Amy.
Hi, bonjour, everyone. Okay, my first poem is based on the current situation anyway. So it's called Postcard. I haven't heard from you except a postcard of Power Court's gardens, violet hydrangea, celestine orchid, marble statues and urns. Your scribbles read in a blur. In the silence of a spring, summer hiatus, some citrine, some pink, screen through their leaves. A shadow reels under magnetized sky, clouds of the color of bones. Somewhere, someone weeps.
Yes, thank you. And that was very nice. Can we hear a second one from you, Amy?
Yes. Now, this is about a 10-year-old boy in Gaza. A boy's life in Gaza. My life is not supposed to be like this. The airstrike lights up the night sky as bright as day. Mother puts my head in her lap. I feel her stroking my hair. Pain rises in waves crashing into me. My eyes unable to focus. My hearing capable only of taking rhythm and cadence. Slowly, words begin to take on discrete sounds. Then comes meaning and comprehension. Mother tells me I will be safe. When a person dies, the people cry. I can see mother crying. Dream fragments float past my eyes.
Yes, thank you. That was deep.
Now, the next one will be, I guess the next one will be something that's inspired by, I'm not sure I've read here before or not, it's from a chapbook called Spearing Dreams. It's inspired by Leonard Cohen. It's one of my favorite. The sense of her. The smell of apple blossoms wrap my senses, collected around my heart like delicate cobweb designs in the rain, defying heated stares, shock whispers. I would have cradled her tight in my arms, in the streets or in a crowded restaurant the way I would have as a young man. I would not have minded that she was married. I would have kissed hard her plum reddened lips. I would have made love to her as she said she loved me. Classics translated. Make music like an angel. Turn eyes to flame. Made her wonder. Had I been that man as a young man, but I am no longer he. Messi, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Amy. Good. And we could hear every word. The wind must have settled down in respect to your.
The wind has been very kind to me.
The fates intervened on your behalf, Amy.
It was gorgeous, gorgeous.
It was lovely. Sorry, can I just interject and say I'm not sure how I write in comments, but I'm listening to everyone and very impressed with all the great poems as well as Amy's. So just wanted to say that. I'm not sure where I enter in the comments.
Well,
Thank you.
well, thank you for mentioning that. And have you prepared something to present, Rachel?
I have, yeah, I have this piece I wrote, and it's called No Phone, and it's about the stress when one loses one's phone. My hand reaches into my rucksack, rummages around, becoming more frantic in its rummaging. My mind rushes back and forth in a flurry of agitation. Christ, where's my phone? My life dictated by the power of the mini microchip. My whole life stored in this mere receptacle measuring 5 by 3. Photographs, all 1,000 or so of them. Emails, text messages, iMessages, music. Even YouTube videos on how to find enlightenment. Gurus from India speaking in riddles about the self. I am not this body, not this mind, I am that. My hand still rummages. The girl washes my hair, my head tilted back in the sink. She soothes me with sudsy massages. I wonder, does she wonder? What's she at? What's she rummaging about for? The wise old woman from within says, relax, let it go. Don't you know you left it on the passenger seat of the car? While the mind lets the phone rest in peace, it won't be still. Far too many questions remain. Thank you.
Thank you. While the mind lets the phone rest in peace. Now that's a good way to turn it around.
Wonderful.
Rachel, do you have another one for us?
I do actually. This one was published, would you believe it, in the US. About 10 years ago, I was asked to contribute to an anthology called Static Poetry. And I think Amy also has some poems in that as well. So,
yeah, we both had, yeah.
So I'll just, this one is called Ghosts. And there's no need to really explain it because it should become obvious as I read it what it's about. The ghosts entered my life in parental guise, silently sighing down through the years, each dissatisfied with the other. So much for the unreliability of romance. If a row was not brewing, dissatisfaction was looming. I looked for an escape route. My eyes flashed on the scooter, a symbol of parental sacrifice, the Santa gift. Really, I should stay and help them to bridge the divide, lessen the gulf of unresolved hearts inflicted one upon the other. But the scooter stood out amidst this tangled knot, beckoning towards freedom. I'm off on the scooter, I declared. I scooted down that hill on Orwell Road, the whiz of the wind rustling through my hair and the wooden board carrying me along the path to freedom.
Okay.
Lovely.
Beautiful.
Lovely, Rachel. Beautiful.
Hi,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rachel.
Wonderful.
Hi.
Hi.
Wonderful.
Well done.
Hi, Rachel.
Hello. Hi.
So,
I like the part of where the ghost becomes a romance. It's like sometimes you might be there alone and something falls. You might not know where it's coming from, but you might think it might be a ghost. So the poem says it all. It's awesome.
Thank you
Can
very
you hear
much.
me?
well, I'll tell you what would be awesome. How about can you do Three's a Charm, Rachel?
Okay. Well, this is one I had published in an anthology in my writing group, which is called Rathmines Writers and close to where I live. And it's called Atoms. And a lot of my poems are kind of wondering about being and non-being. And so this one reflects on how everything comes from nothing and goes back to nothing. But that's not necessarily a negative thing. So here we go, atoms. Stretching into infinity, the atoms and molecules hide in empty space, become textures, colors, flesh, language, then form into sentences upon tongues that will one day return to a realm beyond names and descriptions, beyond labels and conditioned minds, and dance the way back to infinity. Thank you.
Oh, bravo.
Well done. Well done. Well done, Rachel.
And-
Bravo.
And thanks for
you.
coming. Thanks for coming
Beautiful.
on with.
Beautiful.
Thanks for coming on with us tonight, Rachel. This is your first time, and we're all the
Lovely.
better. And we're all the
Great.
better for it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for all being so welcoming, and I'm enjoying listening. As I said, I'm not sure how to write in the comment. I don't know what I do.
Well,
Do you mean
No
do you mean in the
problem.
chat?
No problem. Yeah.
That?
Yeah,
No
in the
problem.
chat.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
so-
a button at the bottom. It says chat. If you click on it, it'll open a tiny window, and you can write it there if you want.
Okay, all I see is something that says more. But anyway, don't worry. I don't want to hold things up. But
Okay.
I'll watch and enjoy, and I'll give
Okay.
my comment verbally. Okay, thank you.
You know, you're right about that, because while you're reading, I would not like to be distracted by people's text comments. I would like to only pay attention to you. So, you know, it's that. So if we could give our comments between readers, that would be nice, so that we don't divert attention from any one of us who is reading. Be all right, you know?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, moving on with that, I would like to ask a Paris writer, a New York to Paris writer, who is a man about town on the poetry scene, and certainly with Angora Poets. So I'd like to call on Jack Cooper. Hello, Jack.
Hi, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
Hello, Jack.
Hey, Jack, how you doing? Now,
Come on, Jack, let's get back.
There we go. Okay.
Yes.
hit
All
the
right.
road, Jack.
Hi,
Hey.
Jack.
Hey. Hello. 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 So, all right. I'll read something. Let's see what. Okay. I thought this. It's called Storm. Storm clouds gather, brew above and below on my brow. Weeks of sunshine come to an end, and I my rope. Ah, but it's good to smell the rain before it falls. The sound of thunder speaks for a non-existent God.
Well, amen to that, Jack.
All right.
Right. So number
Yeah.
2, would you please?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a bit flummoxed here as to what it would be. I was thinking of this. Since we have, you know, people from the Britannic places, or excuse me, UK, or, you know, whatever. It's called The Eggman Cometh. The milkman came to London then, in my delight. One of many I uncovered, moving there, late 20s, and first time since childhood. I had lifted the lid, made of tin, a soft metal box. Thence they lay, it, the milk in glass bottles, bred to fill that would soon contain quart, cream, smaller, pint. Priestly collars about their necks set mass, where blessed heads bowed in drink. Like eggs nested beneath magic, these vessels breached a foretold past, cracked to reveal nothing exists or lasts, less longer propitious succeeds lacked suspension unbelieved. Home one time, before my mother out all day, after school, I sponged them clean as she used, putting them away. Virtue unspoiled with my love for her might remain. Rumble, thunder resounds, returned empty. A bowling ball striking pins scores the memory. Scrolled paper toweling, scrawled message bore. We knew who should find and see. A game grown stalk taller than weeds, because flowers shed wax petals once sealed at the stem. Tabbed cardboard caps gone to seed. As if the Eggman shared some secret signal, knowledge, proof you only spelled, though everybody had one, didn't they? Goo goo gajoob.
Great. Powerful stuff.
Are we still there? Okay. All right. All right. This. Lot again unrequited. The woman I love turns my heart to stone. Her ebullient curls tender more harm than snakes. Should she tease apparent happiness, know me through her warmth, menace affection, treat me to it, tension and inflamed touch, as she will, she may, as she might, and do tomorrow, as did this very afternoon, rest shoulder minus sleeve on my stopped hand. Perched then there, no one thought felt soft remove. Opposed pray, prayer, deafen too merciless, insolvent entreaty. Set flesh to salt before hers. I burned on water, like to melt, a foundered ship taken by exquisite storm. I never wished to quit that peril. End come, must suffer ever. Still preserve, else such salvages could I perish of its slight.
Okay, all right.
Bravo.
Right,
Bravo,
that's
bravo, Jack.
beautiful.
Beautiful. Bravo,
Say
Jack.
something. Bravo.
Thank you, thank you.
Wonderful.
Those poems, Love and Love, Love.
Can I say something?
I think you're going to.
Can I say something?
I think you're going to. Please.
Jack always has Jack always has this passionate way of reading out his poems. It's a plus always for him. If a woman can turn your heart
Wait,
into
hold on,
stone,
Benedicta.
that is something I like about one
Wait,
of his
Benedicta,
poems.
I want to take notes here. Hold on. Say that again.
Sorry?
Say that again. I want to take notes.
I'm saying that you always have a passionate way of reading out your poems, and it's a plus. And I like the part where you said a woman can turn your heart into stone. I like that part. It's very nice.
Okay.
Yes, I like
you've
that
done
as
well.
well.
Yeah.
I like the way you expressed that.
So we all like the stone, Jack.
Oh.
Okay. So now, great.
Knock.
Okay. Now, what I'd like to take a moment is to ask. I think Jane's spoken word has disappeared. Am I right? I don't see her, Mo.
Yes, she has. She was having trouble.
Too bad. Too bad. Did she say she's coming back on, or did she get disconnected?
No, she said she would see us next week.
Okay, good enough. Okay, well,
She said her network was bad.
Okay, now see, speaking of seeing us this week, did I just see Rhett Masilio? Hello, Rhett. Are you there? Can you unmute?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm having
all right.
trouble with the video, but I'm in the house.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Okay, so we'll be calling you up. And next, I would like to call up another first-timer that's come on that I ran into earlier this week online, and her name is Alicia. Hello, Alicia.
Hi.
Hi. Would you please present for us?
Absolutely, but I want to say thank you for everyone sharing. I'm really enjoying it.
Thank you. Yes. And I would like you to be followed by Benedicta, so you can prepare after Alicia. Benedicta.
Yikes. Okay.
My poem is called Visiting with Chaos. Spills splatter the walls, counters filled with clutter, multiple piles creating a new geography in the room. There is a relief to cleaning it all away, everything in order, repair and replace. The seduction of a new cycle, sparkle of clean, free from marks of history. What if we could sit with chaos for just a little minute? Feel the wind in our ears, hearing her secrets of cleverness. To soak in the learning of this undone space before an opportunity is erased. A past disinfected before she can author her story, from which the plot differs from perpetual duplicating.
Okay, thank you. Yes. And can we hear another one from you, Alicia?
Yes. This one is called, wrote this in May. This is called What Matters Most. Now I set the matching shoe with its mate, purposeful in their reuniting, instead of nonchalantly tossing it into possible aloneness. Companions that move together like light with gray, or salt with pepper passed at the table. Now I replace the broken shovel after proper disposal, the two parts together again in the garbage can, instead of repairing what isn't strong enough for future leverage. To be ready for the next digging, removal, and refilling. There are always new holes to prepare for, Now I am finally holding your note of thanks, puzzling through misspelled words. I touch the indented sentences where pencil leaned on paper. I am wishing your pencil would have been sharper, noticing how dullness doesn't serve either of us. What opening to the unexpected can bring. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Wonderful.
can you give us three is a charm?
I didn't bring anything else, but so thank you for listening.
Well, thank you for presenting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alicia.
Thank you.
So now,
Thanks, Alicia.
so now we'll ride the south wind across the sea and go to Ghana and ask to hear from Benedicta. Hello, Benedicta. Hello, Benedicta.
Calling Benedicta.
Benedicta.
Oh, it was good.
You're there.
Hi, everyone.
Benedicta.
There she is.
Welcome.
I hope my sound is clear.
Your sound is now clear.
Yes.
And now we cannot hear you.
Hi.
Okay. Hi.
Now,
Hi.
is it clear now?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
I had to. Thank you. Okay, so the first one. An exclamation punctuated in whispers and recognition. The misplaced signals of legends and graphical connotations, walls and towers, garrisons and commands, a composure of penetrating stare. That's the first one.
Thank you. And number two.
And the second one is a monoku. That
Is what?
A monoku.
And what does that mean? Tell us.
That's how should I put it? It's not like a three-worded form like the haiku. It's just one sentence. It comes in just one sentence. Mono is for one, but the haiku is for three
All
sentences.
right.
That you
Yeah,
make it
I've
in a
heard of
short
it.
form.
I've heard of it. A one-line haiku. Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. Yeah.
Breathless darts of an unknown past. That's about it.
Could you repeat it just once since it's so short?
Sorry?
Can you just say it once more?
Breathless darts of an unknown past.
Oh, lovely. Very good.
Lovely. And
thank you.
And Benedicta, do you have three is a charm?
Yes, the third one. Hold on a second. I posted something on Facebook and it was Falls of Remembrance. That's the heading. Flashbacks, retrospective of classical moments, history beacons and pulses, the canyons of memories, heralded in footsteps, tiptoes in the days of youthful exuberance, patterns of hope and transformation, an outcry of the good old days, iron sharpens iron, flirtatious flames in footfalls, falls from a mountainous view, the hollows, picking up the pieces of remembrance. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. All right,
Lovely.
Benedicta.
Very good.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you for presenting. And you know what?
Wonderful.
And it's not a bad time to mention, we will do a second round, and you are all of you invited to participate in the second round. We'll take a brief break after we go through the lineup of who's presently on screen. Okay, so next I would like to call Mr. Ron Bremer. Hello, Ron.
Hello there.
Hello, Ron.
Uh,
Hey, Ron.
yeah, I've been reading COVID-19 poems in a lot of Zooms lately, and I'm really sick of reading them. So.
You're right, Ron.
Are you getting
I
sick
don't mind
of
hearing
COVID?
them. I don't mind hearing them, but I don't want to read anymore.
Okay.
So we're going to go back in time to 2018 to a chapbook that I released then, and read some things from that.
Okay.
So
It does seem to be the appropriate thing to be with COVID poems.
yes, that's true, but you know, it can get you pretty depressed if you keep reading them.
Mm-hmm.
This is a poem concerning the final phase of the Civil War in Sri Lanka, and it's about the final battles in a place called the Vani, and it's dedicated to the people of the Vani. Chambers of the heart have quickly frozen, while worlds outside this copper wall today pick and choose their secrets of the fray for skeletons and corpses randomly chosen. Among the scattered rat droppings we play, such is this war's unfettered decay. And that was that one.
So you're speaking about the Tamil people.
Yes.
Yes.
This second poem is one of my specialties is writing poems about music and musicians. And this one is about Laura Nero, and it's called Laura. And it starts with an epigraph by Laura Nero. You could hear the walls roar, see your brains on the floor, become God, become cripple, become funky and split. Why was I born? And the poem goes, scrumptious syllable wench of fractured ice, you burn my soul's cold, cold flames, a killing intensity. I stretch to grab your hand, but like frozen glass it shatters, cutting my heart and freezing my head. You write so damn good, it shames my damnable prose like pap. But what did it get you? I want to hug you, pull you away from your exercised self, but you've turned to stone, and anyway, you were alien to my flesh.
Okay. And Ron, do you have a Three's a Charm?
Yes. This is another music poem. I was lucky enough to have it featured in Jerry Jazz Musician, a jazz magazine. It's called Miles Runs the Voodoo Down, and has a few references to Miles Davis. Miles boils his bitch's brew in a night of worlds much blacker than black. His demons and angels let out slack for pharaohs dancing into the true. Miles runs the voodoo down and serves it up with a taste of free for those whose spirits would otherwise drown without such wild, mad sanctuary. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
That's indeed a
Wonderful.
sanctuary.
Yeah, lovely, Ron. Well done.
Very nice, Ron.
Mm. It's
No?
indeed a sanctuary.
All right.
Jerry
I have a
Jazz,
question.
yay.
Ron, you had members of your family with you 2 weeks ago, and you had was that your wife who read? She read wonderfully. She read wonderfully. Is she there this evening or this afternoon where you're at?
She's busily working on her novel, and she says she can't spare any time.
Whoa. Okay. Well, that's our loss because she's like so many others on this site. She read some very impressive work. Tell her I said thank you and all the best on her novel. At this moment, I want to sneak in one poem because I was terribly moved by Amy Mary's reference earlier tonight to the people of Gaza. And having been a visitor, I was an investigative journalist in Gaza, the West Bank, and Israel. So I'm just going to sneak in one poem, and I need to mention that right now on Facebook, any sympathetic or supportive messages to the Palestinians are now censored on Facebook. And so in Palestine and Israel, there is a movement that I think we should know about called Palestinian Lives Matter. And they have just done a demonstration today, the other day, in support of George Floyd. So I want to give you a little poem I read, just one here, that I witnessed when I was there as a journalist and went away with this experience as a poem. And it's called When Ibrahim Fell. The moment comes, inevitable rendezvous, space over time, infusion, life, death, one face, ghost freed from the bone, from the muscle. You cease to think, nerves detach, race through blood, limbs, joints, even the head, all useless. Only the ears and eyes are open as never before. When Ibrahim fell while tending the olive grove, the pain was quick. The struggle to love, to struggle to live, to struggle to be ceased, a severed root cast at the base of a giving tree. Assassin approached in heavy boots, his gloat over his prey. This frail man made corpse, supine, silent, at peace with the earth. Suddenly, the predator comes to sense failure as he fathoms his own defeat, overcome by his victim's composure, a trace of a smile on the dead man's face, a moment of yours you will never know.
That was
Bravo,
nice.
Mo. Bravo.
One of your
Can I
best.
say something? Can I
Yes.
say something?
Yes.
I like the part of an inevitable rendezvous.
I'm sorry.
I like the part of an inevitable rendezvous.
Yes. Yes.
The
Yes.
composure
Yes.
is nice.
All right.
Well done.
So
Brilliant.
powerful. Every
Brilliant,
word
Mo.
was necessary. It's perfectly done.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Bravo.
Wonderful.
Well seen,
Yeah,
well
bravo,
said.
Mo.
Yes, because one sunny afternoon, this man was tending an olive grove in the hills of West Jerusalem, actually.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, East Jerusalem. And this Israeli citizen just came up and shot him dead on the spot. And
Oh no!
Oh,
If they can
so
do
yeah.
similar
whatever
to
they
the
want, then please.
similar to the George Floyd situation, the murder, it just all went off without a hit.
You know,
The assassin left. Ibrahim's
Yeah.
people came and collected him. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
The problem
Okay.
with Israel is that they all, if you complain about Israel, you're anti-Semitic.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I
Bullshit.
feel
All
you.
Jews like
Yeah.
me, are for Palestine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way they control the narrative. But here we are. We are human beings, and so let me call the next human being to read some poetry. And at this point, I would like to call a wonderful human being that has been in Angora Poets in Paris at La Vista des Artistes, and she's back in social circulation. Natty Yee King. Hello, Natty.
Oh, hello. That's a surprise. Okay. Do you mind if I go on after the next person? Would that be okay?
Why, That would be just fine, to tell you the truth, Manny. Okay, so prepare your stuff. And the next person I'll call on is David Sirois, who is someone who actually founded the space that Angora Poets would inherit down at the Bistro des Artistes before he moved over back to Maine and Canada on the border. So welcome, David. Welcome, Leo.
Thank you so much, Mo. Wow. I'm amazed by everybody, and I'll contribute with some new stuff because Jack asked me to write a poem for the or submit something to the Rainbow Project, and I found an old poem and wrote a new one and put them together for Jack and Rainbow Project. So it's called "I Saw the Letter I in Blue." Part 1, Paris Dusk. I saw the letter I in blue that blurs the blocks of sidewalks and coats the skin of buildings in tones found nowhere else except these later skies. Punctuated by lit green signs, their loveliness is just one facet of the pursuit of stillness. Twilight palette. There is emptiness alive in grasses, green flames. A strong presence contemplates absence. I buried my multiplied mistakes that turned to shame for being strange and mundane. There is stillness in the multifoliate face of curtained windows. Silences awaken clear in the cloud world overhead. Forehead of a deity who desires reality. Only one color here. I lost my name to letters scattered on the sentient street. I saw the letter I in blue. Part 2, Canadian Border Blue. I begin each day with a sacred drink. First few drops of the nectar of discipline. Chant Sanskrit prayers of praise and petition. We are always in transition. I become aware each word added to the page subtracts 1 second of my life duration. Countdown critical to my own disappearance. Dissolved in death's unknowable dusk. Twilight's bridge from day to night offers a taste of each shade of blue. Turns the wheel of time till the last cobalt hue is mixed with pigments of darkness, stillness, silence. And for a light, thank you so much.
Beautiful reading, David. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's lovely. Very good.
Thank you a million bucks.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Mercy.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, wow. I'm happy to see you today.
Fantastic.
Number
I do
2.
have a second. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, Leo, number 2 from
Oh, awesome. I have a poem about number 2 also. A joke poem. This is called Present in the Presence. I have made my body ready to cradle you, ghost. To provide a platform, skeleton scaffolding, where your voice appears out of emptiness. Silence's crystalline screen, page devoid of fingerprints. Knowing ghost, homeless soul, bright space without frame or name, I invite you to take control of my quavering voice. You are the master, I am your quiet scribe. The time is always now. If you wish, please speak. David, be still. Embrace the spaces, the spaciousness of consciousness. In your mind's fertile field, what do you wish to plant? The seeds you choose to push into soil will multiply 1,000-fold. Why continue to plant wrinkled seeds of anxiety whose roots choke the soil of all clear composure? Don't even offer a space for worry to take root in your garden within. Plant the blue pearl of inner divinity in the soil of your silence, presence, intense instant. Poised at the auspicious moment on the threshold of change, at the center of the circle of now, outside of which our clocks ceaselessly tick. Again and again when twilight and daylight, again and again when daylight directly faces you, then darkens her gaze and turns away. Plant the blue pearl in the ground of your mind, the space inside each second, the circle of now immune from time. Spaces are often known by what they hold: cloudy sky, vineyard, spring night whose drizzle sprinkles our skin with persistent chill, field of daffodils made famous by a wordsmith. What are you made of, David? What is it you hold? Don't expect an answer. If you arrive at words, you took the wrong road. Apply the fine lightning of full attention to your time location. The Supreme Self expresses itself in personalities. Play your chosen role to its wildest extent. Dance your motley marionette across the seemingly solid stage of Earth, still within the blue pearl. Let inner fireworks freely take birth. Be present in the presence.
Okay.
Oh,
I
that's
love that. Be
so
present in presence.
Bravo, bravo, Leo, bravo.
Words to the wise, Leo. Now, do you have threes of charm, Leo?
yeah, I have a very brief third funny one.
Okay,
And
let's have some humor.
okay, it's short. It's called Digging in the Dirt. As the totally groovy Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh has taught us, be mindful when you use the bathroom. It's in the miracle of mindfulness. I saw it. I shit you not. Anywho, this particular teaching resonates with me on the deepest level. Where I go, no one may follow. I must face my dark side alone. I want this moment to be meaningful. Digging in the dirt. I confess I don't dig having to drop my pants and park my thighs on a cold seat with wicked smelly dirt coming out of my butt. Therefore, I require the full support of my inner being, which is consciousness and bliss. In the end, when one practices mindfulness in the bathroom, one is the ageless witness of whether the yucky water flushes away or if the liquid's level begins to rise. Also, through applying mindfulness, I learned to wipe thoroughly and be spotless within me.
Well, I think it is safe to say that was one hell of a colorful poem.
Now flush it.
And one tag I put onto a lot of responses is humor now more than ever. I want to put an anecdote to what you just did, David. Some years ago, I had a good friend, a Cherokee Indian woman, who lived in inner city Philadelphia. Her name was Betty, and she practiced spiritual healing. And when the Dalai Lama came to the United States, 4 Buddhist monks stayed at her house. Okay, so she put out the banners, the triangle banners on the porch, a small inner city row house, and these 4 Buddhist monks stayed with her for 3 days as they needed to be housed. So she's practicing her native spiritual tradition, and they are. And so I said after they left, I said, "Hey Betty, how did that go? That must have been so intense." She said, "We laughed for 3 days. We made jokes about food, about farting, about tripping, about hems in our skirts. And that's what we did for 3 days. We laughed."
Oh, that's great. That's so great.
But she told me.
Thanks,
All
Mo.
right.
Wow.
So I would like to now invite back on Natty. Hello, Natty King.
Right. Hello. Yeah, I'm ready to go. So I'm gonna start off with half a song from Yoko Ono, which I feel is quite appropriate to the topic that has just been mentioned. I'm just going to find the lyrics so I can read them and sing them at the same time. I think you can probably guess which one I'm talking about. So this is Who Has Seen the Wind. I'm just going to read sing out the first part. Okay, so here we go. Who has seen the wind? Neither you nor I. But when the trees bow down their heads, the wind is passing by. Who has seen the wind? Neither you nor I. But when the trees bow down their heads, the wind is passing by. Oh, wind, 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 wind. Okay, so that's the first one. Having problems hitting those high notes there, but I couldn't resist that one. That's one of my favorite tracks.
Good for us. Good for us.
And you keep mentioning wind, so I thought I would too. There we go. So on to the next one. We're on to cotton now. Cotton's always been a topic, and I thought it was relevant to read this with regards to a lot of the protests that have been going on. Looking a little bit about all of the mixed dualities of a history of cotton. Actually, I was inspired to write this poem when I started listening to the sound of cotton outside one of the open mic nights. I started listening to cotton in my ear, and then it was kind of like a static buzz, and I started imagining this whole story about the history of cotton. So that's where that one comes from, but it doesn't really go into that too much in this poem, but I'll just give it a go. Okay, so this is called Cotton Off or Cotton On. Is it cotton on or cotton off? For many years the wool was pulled over your ancestral eyes and some of mine, disguising them wolf-like. Somewhere inside there was a lamb. But why this emphasis on cotton anyway? As I take some cotton in between my fingers, scrunching it, I hear a noise. It triggers many thoughts and feelings, mixed of course, like me, sounding as it does like a muffled, indigestible process. Too much information. It could take some time to unpick the screeching microcosmic tales of roots placed, people taken, heads covered or laid bare, threads undone, tasseled tendrils, cursed, torn, ripped, blessed, burnt, or offered. Lost spirits muttering disgruntled tales, rowing in the breezy mists of memories, bespoke yet filtered, sand-etched. It takes time to surface still yet charted territories, whilst others cotton fill their ears, sleeping well on crisp white Egyptian sheets, now focusing on corn for their new golden fleece. Bah, is it cotton off or cotton on? So I feel I have to explain that a little bit more at the end there. Now, I was looking at corn as a kind of replacement for cotton with regards to trees a little bit, and how that's also affecting our health these days as well on many levels. Corn syrup for one. Okay, well, last one.
Another anecdote. Cotton, of course, was grown in the United States, in the South and Southern states, and it grew the best in Mississippi. All right, the climate was best for cotton in Mississippi. And do you know that by the start of the Civil War, Mississippi was the 4th largest economy in the world? The 4th largest economy in the world for growing cotton, with roughly 15% of the population dominating 85% of the subservient slave population. So there's an anecdote about cotton in our history.
Yeah. There's a lot of mixed history.
Okay, so Natty, back to you.
Okay, well, for the last one, because I've done a little song, I've done a bit about cotton. It's covering many areas, cotton there. Thank you, Benedicta. I just got a message through. I hope you can lend me a high note for the day. Oh. I'm not sure if I can get. You can borrow it now if you like.
Steal your voice from you.
Well, it's been amazing what people have been trying to steal from me this week, so it really wouldn't surprise me. So I'm just going to keep cotton on for now, just in case, because I need to keep some protection on the go here.
You have to tell me the tips that you are using for that.
Just no milk. Just not having milk, I would say, is a good start for being able to hit more notes. Yeah, no milk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, okay. Last one. This is called stock cube syndrome as opposed to Stockholm syndrome. Okay, this is when you've been allowed access to a concentrated dose of something and you don't want to water it down. Beware of dehydration in large doses. Another symptom is misinterpretation. Okay, so that's stock cube syndrome.
Okay, all right. Well,
thank you, Mo.
Well, thank you. Stay on board.
Please, can I say something? That's what did you say the syndrome was?
Stock cube syndrome. Okay, you know when you make a soup and you can buy these cubes, and it's a concentrated dose of something.
Oh, okay, cube syndrome, like a spice.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like that. I can read it again if you like. It's very short. Maybe I read it a bit quickly.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, maybe you could come back and read it again in the second round.
Sure,
so that I my job sometimes is to keep it moving. And so I'm going to do that now and invite on a performance artist who from the North Atlantic back to Ireland again. I'm going to invite on someone who, as she mentioned before, Maria Darcy, is her and I are co-hosting a Bloomsday event, and don't tell anybody. And so now we will come on with Maria Darcy. Hello, Maria.
Hello. I'm feeling a little bit foolish because everyone is speaking so profoundly and spiritually and poetically, and I'm just going to dance. So, but for the people who know me, I think it's okay. But for those who don't know me, I'm interested in the spoken word as well. Okay.
And we're interested in dance, so get on with it.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes. That's too bad. David.
Beautiful. Oh, Maria.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You're fabulous, Maria. Fabulous.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was slick, very slick.
Oh,
I'm sure Maria.
You
I'm
forgive
sure
me.
Maria. It was
Maria,
very
you'll have
slick.
your body today, not the mind.
It was very slick. I'm sure Maria has seduced all the men on the YouTube right now, the recorded. I need more tips from your dance moves.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Mo, we can't
Where's
hear
Mo?
what you're saying.
Sorry. Okay, here we go. I was going to say that at the Bistro des Artistes, Angora has presented people who've danced in the past in there. It's the first time we've done it on the Zoom screen. So thanks for breaking us into a Zoom dance. Appreciate it.
Yes. And it worked beautifully.
Yes, yes. Okay. So, well, the last voice I heard on there was, Rhett Basilio. How you doing, Rhett? Can't hear you, Rhett.
I was about to say I'm doing okay. I'm enjoying the show.
Oh, good.
I'm also learning how to cook because Patricia was cooking something and I jotted down the recipe. Her camera was on what she was doing in the kitchen. So, am I reading? Is that it?
She has her
Yeah,
earphones on, so she won't be able to hear us, I think.
Rhett, there were no stock cubes.
There were no stock cubes. I noticed that. Yeah.
Okay. But we are asking you to read, Rhett. Yes.
All right. I've been thinking about my parents lately. My father is late. My mom is aging. So I decided that in this first round, I'm going to read 3 poems about my dad, and in the second round, 3 poems about my mom. All right. After lunch on Sundays. Later in life, when my father was sick and coughing blood, we tied a hammock outside between 2 willows, heaved him up, and left him there like a fetus with an old transistor tuned to the BBC for a pillow and dreams of politics. Each day after lunch, we sent him to before his birth, plugged into his mother's wall, which he loved. He loved everything then, being young again. And our reward for placing him in that womb was the way he studied us from the window of his room when he thought we weren't looking. His eyes soft and glazed, a hand sweeping for someone's to hold under the sheet. My father was Button before his time, from a stern, angry father we hadn't outgrown yet, to this boy we shall now not forget. That was poem number 1.
Thank you.
And just for a quick note on that, my father's name was Benjamin, which explains the reference to Button. Manicure of the last day. Before going back to Europe tomorrow, I must cut and trim my father's fingernails. He sits in an armchair in front of the garage and closes his eyes as each nail jumps off. My father, who used to prune fruit trees he had planted himself between the kitchen and the outhouse of our home in Guadin, the last village we lived in before we fled, and learned to understand what the world was. We had gone back to Lesotho years later and visited our old home one morning. Those trees still bore great fruit. After buffing his handnails, I remove his shoes and kneel and prune the nails of his toes one by one.
Okay. Yes. And now 3's a charm, Rhett.
Let's go for it.
Go for it.
I have read this poem a number of times, but I would like to read it tonight because it's about him again. It's called The Vaslap of My Father. And I'd just like to explain, a vaslap is a washcloth. And when my father passed away, we have a custom in not family, but broader family, whereby when a parent dies, the kids choose things that they would like from the deceased person's belongings. And one of the first things I picked was my father's vaslap, his washcloth, and I brought it to Paris with me. The vaslap of my father. In my palm sits my father's vaslap, as I knew it would one day, each time I saw him scrub himself with it in the zinc tub beside our hut, darkening the water with his mood. I wash myself with that vaslap, wishing he were here to watch me, all grown up and whistling in the cold morning of winter. I gather it again and squeeze the water out of it, the same way he always did, with might. Because it is that, too, remembrance. Nothing but a conquest of will that has made me the keeper of my father's dreams. His pants and best cotton shirt that fit me. The hat he bought in Bloemfontein when there for work once. A belt. All fit, and I wear them to parties to impress my friends. The day my father lay here in state on his back, shocked at what the world had done, I wet the vaslap and dabbed his brow before scrubbing him well from sternum and chest down to the legs. My father who said he was off somewhere and we should let him. I wonder, is he watching me now as I wring this out and put it on my head to dry, like a keeper, a cloth of memory. All his clothes go on me like a charm, except his shoes, which are too big for me to wear. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
You communicate.
Marcelo,
You communicate
Bravo.
your feelings so well, Rhett. So well.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
Marcelo, it was very good. I like the part like a keeper with memories. It's very nice.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Love all the 3 poems. Very well. Very good. Brilliant.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
lovely poems about your father, very moving.
Perhaps it's
Thank
because
you.
I was
Thank
thinking
you
of
for
him
sharing.
today.
Thank you. It's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
And because we are speaking about parents, I'm going to take an opportunity to read one, just one, about parents. And it goes like this. Happy birthday, Mom. I look upon a picture of you. I keep it on my kitchen shelf. See, Mom, I like knowing you're near, no matter how far I might travel, from our home, our city, your womb. You are always a flash moment, close, as I would think, hey, Mom would like this, and hey, Mom, now the distance between us is just in my imagination. Today, Mom, you and I are so far apart, and yet you're here. You're here in this room in Paris, smiling fondly upon a photo. Now, hear me call out to you, Mom. You gave 9 children. Abandoned you were by that boy child of a husband. You gave me the gift to play on a rainy day. And you, I heard on the radio, you always played singing songs I still sing in my head, Let the Little Girl Dance. Mom, you gave me the gift of dance. You inspired me to sing into the face of darkness. You gave me the gift of laughter in the face of sorrow, humor in the face of need, the go-ahead to leave your home and the big world. Mom, you welcomed my boyhood poems. You taught me how to lick clean my wounds and the wounds of another. You gave me 8 brothers and sisters to share these gifts with, to share times good and bad and good and bad. And oh, Mom, my kids, your offspring, carry you in themselves. Oh, here I go, here I go, here I go, here I go. Quietly to cry. I hear you, Mom. calling your man-child. I hear you, Mom, when you say, "Oh, honey, come here to me. Give your mother a hug." Hey, Mom, I don't mean to ham it up. I'm just saying, I love you, Mom, deeper than love can say.
Wow. That
Beautiful,
was
Mo.
nice.
Oh, beautiful. And at
Oh,
last I found a comment, so I left a comment.
okay.
That was very, very nice, Mo.
Well, thank you.
So, you know, mothers always have this thing with kids. We are always the best as compared with fathers. Mothers are always there for their kids. The fathers are always busy, 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 busy.
Oh, but they're changing.
It's a
They're
love.
getting better.
Hey.
It's one in a kind.
Go easy on the fathers here.
Yeah,
true.
The modern day fathers are terrific.
My dad was so strict. It's my mom who always pampers us. My dad's very, 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 very strict. He was very strict. So I always owe it to mothers. It depends on the personality you are talking of. But for my dad, he was very strict. That was how he was.
It's
And you know
always
when-
nice, Mo, to have two Mother's Day, to have a French Mother's Day like today, which is Mother's Day in France. I wish all the mothers of all the French mothers so much. They've suffered so long here. It's incredible. And we had Mother's Day back in the United States a few weeks ago. It's so nice to have a double dip on Mother's Day. Thank you, Mo.
Yeah, and to fathers. You know, now I read a poem that doesn't say very well about my father, and I've written a few other poems that don't say very well about my father, because you can't say very well about my father. But that don't mean I'm condemning fatherhood, because I am a father and my children love me. And I love
Well done, Mo.
So, okay. So how about if we hear a song now?
Mo wants to outwit my statement, but I'll mind you. You want to outwit my statement, but I'll mind you. Anyway, it's good that you're a proud father. That's good.
Okay. So I would like to, maybe we could have a song now and call up our singer-songwriter, Jean Ruda. I just saw it's pretty, there you are, Jean.
Yeah.
Are you ready to present something, Mr. Jean?
Yeah, I got some.
Okay.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, Jean, we hear you.
Hey, Maria.
We hear you, brother.
Wow. I've been really, really intensely.
Hey, one second, Gene. Prince. Okay, he has his mic.
Hey, Prince.
Okay.
Hey, Prince. Hi.
Hey,
I'm
Prince.
cooking. I'm in the kitchen cooking.
Okay. Never mind, Gene. I'm sorry. My bad.
How y'all doing?
Okay.
Hey.
Okay, Jean Ruda. We're on to Jean Ruda.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen for a minute because I kind of have a rhythmic song. Someone told me I should probably make this into a song, but I just wrote this weekend, and I gotta try and rhythmically sing this thing, but I'm gonna show it to you guys. So let me try the share screen thing, and we'll see what happens. Oh no, I can't share screen. Okay, I'll just. Host has disabled share screen, by the way, there, Mohammed.
Unfortunately, I have given I have relieved myself of the host privilege and have now given it to Mo. Mo.
There.
Yeah.
There, it's on partagé. That's share in French.
Okay, so you have to press on Jean's image there. You know, the dots, and I think there's a sentence that says "allow to share screen" or something of that nature.
Okay, let's see here.
If you go to Jean's face.
Yeah, I have the browser open. Okay, but it's not telling me what I want to do here. Can you just go on with it, Gene? Are you able to do it?
We can. I'll just go ahead. I'll just sing into this. I'll just do this verbally. Don't worry about it. Let's figure that out the next time.
Okay.
Okay. I've written a song prose piece called Facts About Face. Facts about face. Facts about face. In social books, fraud villain black faces, those mighty friends up in high places. Cool prez, hope sang d'amazing graces. Fool pez, poontang, pimps, craven, naysayers. Folks post the darndest things. Twat, tweet, some other pings. Jacks check them and they ain't the facts. Gadzooks marked them all in whites and blacks. What's happened? Zins the traces of tear gas riots and maces. When marchers trip on polaces, lynch caused, paused human races. From M's bondage, police, a license to kneel, a double-aught shot down to plowshares deal. General strike, Mad Dog's submariner, new wavy seals. Chief commander, bust under military court appeals. So give me just the facts, my dear old mammy. Sway with funny and stay away from spammy. Dragnet some money, wonk your worldwide whammy. Loves your friends, hugs your fammy.
All right.
I got a song, a military song. I wrote this song in 1978. You've got the makings of a military soldier. We're going to take you before you get much older. Don't get married, take too many courses. Gonna sign you up, sign you up, sign you up for the military forces. So if you think you're fighting for the freedom land, here's a message and it's straight from Uncle Sam. Will you join our fight for your family and friend? Protect and defend the corporate dividend. You got the makings of a peaceful country farmer. Don't need H-bombs or silver suits of armor. Recruit or draft, say stick it up their ass. Bill,
Yeah.
won't sign up for another stinking bloodbath. If you think you're fighting for the garden green, here's a message and it's straight from Uncle Gene. Oh yeah. Join our fight for your family and friend. Protect and defend the planet and children. I had the makings of a patriotic soul man. Lord's gonna take me, I become an old man. Yes, I got married, and I take too many courses. I signed right up, signed right up, signed right up for the educated, for sale. So tell them I've got the making of a patriotic soul, man.
Okay, all right, Gina.
That's so nice.
That's
Wonderful,
clever,
bravo.
funny, clever.
I think this group might be. I think this group might be in accord with Eugene on that, on those values. Before I call the next vote up, I want to know, Mo, can we get you to present tonight, Mohammed? We can. Well, okay, and we have let's see, we have Carrie who hasn't presented yet, and we have Claire who hasn't presented, and we have Prince who hasn't presented, and we have someone on, Rachel Stanley. Hello, Rachel. Rachel Stanley. And next to her, I see the screen, Evelyn. Are you hearing us, Evelyn?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Did you join us tonight to present something?
Yes, I have a poem to present.
Oh, that'll be good. So I'll be calling on you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Rachel Stanley, if you're there, hello. Okay, maybe she'll come back to us. So, okay, what I'd like now is to call on our poet from New York, Carrie Radna. Hello, Carrie.
Hello. How's everybody?
Good.
Great.
Hi.
We're good. We're good.
Good,
Hi.
Carrie.
Good. Good to hear you guys. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Absolutely. Yes. These poetry is wonderful in these troubled times, and it soothes my heart and soul to be with you guys today. All right, I have 3 poems. This one's called Lady in Waiting. When the plane finally touched down in the Dominican Republic, I sent you a message after marveling at the ocean. But my head felt like as if it was split open. There was desolation between 2 areas. At the all-inclusive resort, the private beach was pristine. Its sand was made of the finest white powder under my bare feet. Poverty lived everywhere else. Nowhere was safe to walk around alone. There was desolation between 2 areas. I did not know if you wanted to come with me. My cousin's getting married here, but there's also a tiny tropical depression arriving fast to the island to shake up the party. But we are currently fine, holding fast in the storm. The wedding is still on. If you are still alive, please send me a signal from the blue, a bottle message, a song in a shell as I lie here under the sun, seething, waiting for you to pick up your phone. I should have been the lady in waiting, but I've been waiting too long for you to notice me. I had to put an ocean between us for a while. Are you allergic to the sun, the water, airplanes? It's in the same time zone as ours, just 4 hours away. It's an easy day. This is not my typical tropical island music mix, grooving silently, drinking funky monkeys, floating on a plastic banana boat. Can you see us here, just for an hour? Please? Please come, even if you could only come in my own modeled mind. Thank you.
That's nice.
A funky monkey, Addie, is a drink.
Okay. All right. Before you read your second one, I'm going to remind everybody, please mute, because, you know, the interference is coming right over the transmission of the poet. So come on now.
Mm-hmm. All right. My second poem, Change of Light. I stopped by that place we met years ago for one night. I saw the steps in the cafe we used to sit, passing the time until sunrise. But today's light made the sights look different. Alone, I remember your warm hands as I walked the cobbled streets. Your emotional marble in your head was so big back then. What happened? It's now the year of the rat. You got another woman pregnant and you must marry her, even though she doesn't make your soul sing. The light has changed everything, but I still feel the same. A star lost in orbit, searching for a harbor, even if love or the light disappears. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Do you have threes of charm for us?
Yes, I do. I do.
Okay, please do.
Yay!
Yay. Okay. This was inspired by another poem by Jay Cholak. He wrote this poem, Blue, which was amazing, so I had to write something about my impression of that poem, Blue. I'm so sorry. It's there's like horns and stuff going outside, so please ignore if you can. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
Pray for Jay.
Yeah. All right. I'll rate it. Thanks. All right. Yay, Jay. It's a wonderful, wonderful poem. Indigo statue in the future. Inspired by Jay Cholak's poem, Blue. When my baby says goodbye to the big, awful blue world by his hand or not, paint my organs in blue like the nudes of Maltese. As I wear black for the rest of the year, my heart will beat blue with its sinews and veins, so both love and obligations won't be in vain. The whole damn year of mourning will be blacked out with the blessed sun. My lungs and skin will hold the same melancholic tincture until eventually the sun will shine for me again, changing my body and visage green in its golden light, then normal again, as if the tragedy never happened, never frozen in place, when my baby is gone, if my baby is gone. Thank you.
Bravo, Carrie. Wonderful, beautiful poems. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Can we agree? There's such a bittersweet pleasure in hearing poems about love lost.
Yeah,
exactly.
That was wonderful, Carrie.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Like the blues, that's something everyone seems to share.
Yeah.
Cooper.
As well as the sinews.
Yeah. Okay, so we were going to invite on next our co-host and poet in his own right, Mohammed. Hello, Mo.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
Yay! Hi, Mo.
Hello, Mo.
Hi.
All right. Well, so I'm actually undergoing the process. Something really lousy happened to me in the middle of last year. A document which I foolishly had very few copies of. In fact, actually, none copies of, which had all my poems disappeared. And I have been spending the last few months rewriting all the poems that I have ever written from memory. And some of them actually came out a bit more vivid than when I had originally written them. And this one, it's actually a shorter version of the older one, but I kind of like it. It's called Loud. The ride was loud, and it was dead. A train of repetitive rehearsals of poems that were bland, loud, but monotone, like the air conditioner. He was on a mood swing between showmanship and quiet, the benefits of ADHD being able to shift between adrenaline rush and the melancholy almost at will. At least he thought it was ADHD. Could be OCD. He was 2 hours early, walked himself tired long before the manager could come to turn the lights on. And God, oh, the lights were too bright. Synthetic leather draped over his shoulders as if to make a statement. If only he could tune his soul to be just as deaf to his brain. A new poet shows up in the scene, and she was beautiful, flowery, like the stanzas she wrote, grazed like the vase that carried flowers, broken but still whole in her own way. This could have been a night to remember in a love poem, if only his brain had shut up for a moment. All right, so that's my first poem.
That's real.
Wow.
That's real.
Go ahead, Mo.
Great.
I like broken but still holds.
All right, could you come by with the second one, Mo?
Sure. This one I've read many times, but I'm very fond of it. In fact, I've added a few additional lines at the beginning. There's a misconception that Frankenstein is the monster. The name actually belongs to the man who made him. In the story, he is referred to as wretch, monster, it. In the story, he is as nameless as depression. If Frankenstein wrote a poem instead, a prose from the bones of his closet, maybe it'd be the meaning his monster wished he had. His heart must have been a faucet for trauma. Or maybe trauma was a faucet for his heart. Maybe stitching limbs into a sad monstrosity was easier after all. A poem can sometimes resemble a soul too much. Hitler dreamed of being a painter. It was easier to wage world war and exact genocide than give life to a white canvas. Had he written stanzas, he'd probably see the reflection the mirror never showed him before it was too late. Hate is the cheapest commodity a soul can buy to make sense of things. A twisted declaration of self-love attempting to spin itself into the shape of a heart that disfigured itself, configured itself into a fidgeting shelf of lies it tells itself. She was the pages Frankenstein could have written on. He was the canvas Hitler could have painted on. Hate is an emptiness that shaped itself into the ghosts the artists were never honest enough to see in themselves. Give a virus the pen of fate we've been tempting for too long, watching re-articulate the designs neglect men are too afraid to admit. While the world bands together to usurp a world menace, remember how dolphins and swans swam back to Venice, how a clear sky hurried back to China like the father kicked out by his prodigal sons, or how a son finally got to see his father up close. Give a virus a pen and it'll make a poem out of all of you, shoving your New Year's resolution list down the shredder, reminding you of a world full of consequences, making you second-guess second chances, even the man you voted for in the elections. The coronavirus is laughing at your makeshift toilet rolls made of your CVS receipts, terrorizing supermarkets more than the kids you feared crossing the borders. If Frankenstein wrote a poem, maybe he could have found love instead. If Hitler painted a painting, well, who knows?
Bravo.
And like, quick anecdote. Charlie Manson wanted to be a famous rock singer.
Yes. His best friends with one of the Beach Boys, trying to get a leg in.
Wow.
Well,
Mo, I've heard you read that piece before, and just incredible, brother. I love it.
Appreciate it, Prince.
Love the concept.
Thank you.
Concept's great, and the spoken word part of it, you really you got the rhythm going. That's really you. It's really coming right from you, man.
Yes.
Yes. Beautiful one, Mo.
Appreciate you.
To what you said, Mo, I knew somebody that had met Charlie Manson before he got famous.
Oh, yeah.
And the last thing Manson said to him, which he took wrong, was watch TV. And this guy thought that Manson was saying you're stupid. He didn't realize Manson was saying that's how the government controls you.
Oh, okay. So, do you have threes of charm for us, Mo?
Sure. I'll read another old one while I prepare a newer one for the next round. She sees something whole in the blankness, pressing wrist and pen tip in a soul-searching dance on paper. There is a conductor in the back of her cranium making waltz out of tone-deaf instruments. The Colosseum must have imitated her neck posture because it was broken, though you can still see clouds pouring through when it was poetry. It was words. It was what she was when her eyes were closed. I imagine her imaginings, her sense of identity, a non-stop bullet train, praying one day her brain could take notes from her feet on standing still, praying that her heart could write in ways that are legible, that destiny gave her signs instead of instruction manuals on how to breathe, or perhaps know when she was reading too much into it. She woke up at the train stop, fumbling for whatever traces left of the dream that took her here, her mind's eye wide open, fighting light blotches as it chased for a fleeting inspiration that once burned like a Christmas tree. The train conductor coaxed her off, but she wrote. People at the terminal pushed her, but she wrote. She missed a step down the stairway, but she wrote. Next to the dream that led her here, the poem was a husk, now buried in a graveyard that posed as a notebook. But if the dead taught her anything, paying homage to that which is fleeting is almost as good as living. Thank you.
Bravo, Mo. Bravo. Okay, and I'm glad tonight you're going to stay awake long enough in Abu Dhabi to join us
Bravo,
in the second round. Yeah. All right.
There's no sleep disorder for him.
I'm pretty much in the sleep disorder phase at the moment and have been for a couple of weeks, so I'm kind of doomed.
For today, stay for the second round. We want to listen to more.
Okay, all right.
You've been drafted, fella. Drafted into the Peace Corps.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so let's see. In the order of who came up later on in here, I think next we can call on Prince McNally.
What's up, people?
Hello.
Hi, Prince.
Hey, Prince.
Hey, Prince.
Hey, you.
Hello.
Yo, Prince. Hello. Hey, meow.
Hey, I lost my picture. Hold on.
Oh, shoot.
You bloody mate. Hold on,
all
mate.
we've been seeing
hi,
is
Prince.
so far.
Okay. Okay.
We still can't see you.
I'm having issues with my audio, but this piece is called Bag Lady.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
Okay, baby.
This poem is dedicated to the homeless, particularly the mentally ill and the elderly, who are routinely abused and discarded on the streets of America's cities by nursing homes and hospitals, etc., who view them as nothing more than valueless entities within a society that refuses to see them.
Word.
Bag Lady. They say she's a hoarder of sorts, simply because she cherishes her past, holding on to her precious memories as if they were worldly possessions, slowly lugging them around in the bags beneath her weary eyes that never seem to stop crying. Her cheeks remain salt-stained, a trail of dry tears flowing from her eyes that have witnessed so much pain and sorrow, and thus she dons a pair of battered shades, shielding her eyes not from the sun, but from the ghostly demons that constantly haunt her, from a past life of privilege, where the streets are paved in golden opportunities and silver spoons. It's hard to believe this bad lady, once a loving member of a prominent family, finds herself living on the streets of New York City, seemingly invisible to the eyes of a society that has long discarded her. She is but a mere outcast on the outside looking in. You will often find her standing in the middle of Grand Central Station, desperately reaching out to passers-by, begging for social change in a racially, economically polarized society that finds her sifting through garbage bins in search of discarded food, a little compassion, and the life she once knew. In peace.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And a message to Patricia. We love watching you cook, but could you mute?
Hello?
Hi, could you mute while you're cooking? Thank you.
Can I pass this around, please? It's really hard.
I'm trying to clean up. How to listen to the people.
Sure, yeah. Just wanted you
Thank
to
you.
mute so we can hear the poet uninterrupted.
Okay, I'm sorry about this.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's really okay. Okay, Prince, back to you.
This next piece, these pieces from my upcoming book called She. Don't know when it's coming out, but it's coming. This piece is called 1,000 Kisses from Nowhere. 1,000 kisses from nowhere. She finds herself taking that lonely walk of shame, tasting the falling rain with the tip of her tongue as crystalline drops splattered blissfully upon her lips. Though still a bit tipsy, clothes soaked to the bone and pantyless. She wore instead a small hint of regret for doing the grown and sexy on a balcony 30 floors below her waistline. For many a line had been crossed and many lines were drawn with a credit card and straw, followed by several shots of tequila, when clarity gave way to the murky memory of her falling down to her knees and crying out to God as her frightened girlfriend held back her hair, reassuring her with the most comforting words like, "Stop your crying, bitch. You ain't gonna die tonight, even though it might feel like it." She then proceeded to vomit, purging her childish naivety as she humbly bowed to the porcelain god before her. In peace.
Okay, all right. Keeping it real, Prince, keeping it real. You got 3 is a charm for us.
3 is a charm.
Prince, what happened to the lady after the 1,000 kisses? What happened to her cheeks?
She was walking home in the rain. She survived it, but it was one of those. I think many that was inspired by many of young ladies having their friends hold their hair back while they vomited after having too much to drink or whatever, So.
Okay, that's nice.
Okay, this one's called "Fool for Love." And this is based on someone I know. Let's just say that. Ever since the age of 15, you had the biggest crush on him. Though despite how much you loved him, you were never truly lovers. You were merely one of many baby's mamas, and even though he constantly took you for granted, You would kiss the ground he walked on, even when he walked on you. For you were his #1 cheerleader, his staunchest supporter. You were all his, but he was never truly yours. To him, you were just a volunteer, a willing participant in his late-night booty calls, his impromptu Circus Soleil of sexual exploits, his personal cash machine when he needed drugs. And despite what he'd have you believe, he never truly loved you. He merely used you. You were, at best, a momentary conquest in his eyes. You were merely an exercise to release his tension, anger, and frustration, an afterthought, an option, a comfortable place to lay his head whenever his woman kicked him out of her bed. You were his guaranteed place to go, his side chick, his side hole, his side piece, his ace in the hole. At the end of the day, you were everything he never wanted. In peace.
Bravo, Prince.
It's good. But that was odd for that person to do that.
Well,
I'm sorry?
you know,
I said it sounds odd for that person to do that.
For a black person to do that?
No, for the person to just treat her just as a whore with no strings attached.
Yeah, well, oddly enough, it's that it happens a lot. You know, when you know, if you're dealing with a player, you know, who's having babies all around the place. So,
Right.
you know, it was one of those situations.
Okay.
Sad, but
you speak
true.
with the voice. You're speaking with the voice of. You're speaking in the first person from a feminine voice. It's very, very, so incredibly empathic. Thank you.
And thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Yeah, right. So
it was to be honest. That piece was based on my older sister. You know, who had, you know, she had a, you know, it was just one of those situations. And he recently passed away, but she still held on to the notion that he loved her. You know, and I just found it so sad. And so I wrote this piece to her without writing it to her. So it's it was almost like it was a letter, if you will. Because it was in that very moment that I wrote it, when I heard these comments, and I'm like, wow, so disillusional, you know?
okay,
But
thank you.
that's what happens. That's what happens when I think that's the importance of women having a strong father in their lives to kind of guide them, you know, past that kind of bullshit.
Okay, good stuff. And we have a few more poets to go here, so we're going to move on. And I think that we have Claire and we have Evelyn. And so I'd like to call next Claire. Hello, Claire. Hello, Claire. Well, Claire seems to have vanished. Are you there, Claire?
Oh, she's here. She's here. She has to mute her mic.
Yeah, well,
she's
she needs.
demo. Yeah.
Yeah, I see her now.
Here. I have
Okay.
a problem with my laptop. I don't know. It just goes on and off all the time. So if I disappear, you will know that. And then there's a problem with my laptop. I don't know what's happening.
Okay. All right.
Well, you're great now.
Yeah, we can see you. We can hear you.
Me? Okay. Okay. So I have only one poem for tonight. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So it's It was very abstract, but I needed to write about it because some of the characters became cards, you know, cards you play with, and I want to share that with you. So he's a ghost in the dark of his mind, appears, disappears, for it's all an illusion. Words are a fiction deep into the real, trying to understand the music of his face. This mirror has no image, but stays still in his black imagination, playing the game of his destiny. The ghost glides between two souls, a heart discovered. He tries to understand a past with no name. Someone has killed someone, his alter ego. The king has become black. Is it him that is destined to renounce? Has he ever existed but in black dreams where all is a double and everybody a culprit? He's dead but doesn't know he has died. Welcome to the third dimension. King, Jack, spades, red, black. Remember, the king is supposed to die. Choose your color and count just one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my piece.
Okay. Thank you, Claire. So
Thank
you
you.
only.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Claire.
So
Very good. Thank you, Claire.
And I take it you only have one poem. Is that it? Is that what you say, Claire? Only one poem? Okay. Well, maybe she'll have another poem in the second round.
No, I can't hear you now.
Okay. I see. Maybe you'll have another.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Then let's move over to someone who's here for their first time, and that would be Evelyn. Hello, Evelyn.
Hi. Thank you all for allowing me into this space.
And where are you from, Evelyn, tonight?
I'm in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Evelyn.
Hi. It's nice to hear all of you. Such great work.
Yo,
Okay,
Evelyn. I like that Bordeaux. I like the Bordeaux, your little Bordeaux sign back there. We're sitting here in France. I think we're not in Bordeaux, but we're with you.
Oh, thank you. I forgot about the sign behind me. Okay, this first poem is called Walking While White. My body at 428, a rusted bicycle chain, disjointed, squeaky, off track. I want to believe cracking joints realign bones as I mask up and set out into a day that has mostly gotten away from me. I walk without purpose. I walk without direction. I am a white woman and have this privilege. I weave a capillary of streets adorned with purple, yellow, white flowers spilling from window boxes, children's artwork roped around trees, American flags, heaps of garbage piled at curbs. When street snatches pavement under my feet, I turn back, climb footbridge, and keep walking blocks beyond home. I walk these streets so familiar I don't see them and they don't see me. Until I do. Chalked in blue and white, a half-city block, names. Names of the brutalized. Names of the dead. I walk this sidewalk graveyard careful not to step on the dead. Abner Louima white lettered less than half a mile from the precinct he was sodomized and beaten to death. Amadou Diallo's name spills like blood in blue to the curb, and I step into the street so I don't step on his name. Breonna Taylor rests in chalk next to George Floyd. I want to gather rocks and place them on names, markers marking they are not forgotten. I want to outwalk the rhetoric, lend my voice to the voices of reason, and speak each name. But the sirens, the fucking sirens, like foot to throat crushes breath formed around embryotic words, asphyxiating them before they ever become viable. And that's the first one.
Yeah, there's a statement. All right.
All right.
Okay, Evelyn, have you a second one for us?
I do. This one is called The Outraged. The outraged nip at words distractors shoot like rubber bullets into crowds. The outraged rally to save Confederate statues, but wash away blood mapping our country's history. The outraged chokehold street peddlers plow into crowds, detonate tear gas bombs, impose curfews, retreat to their bunkers, and watch on their flat screens as the country burns.
Word.
The last one is a little different.
Your call, Evelyn. It's your call.
Okay, this one is called Captured. I want to celebrate the picture of our winter selves locked in one last stolen embrace. You in black beanie, chin dipped and resting atop my hatted head, nestled in the space between coat button and woolen fibers drenched in the scent of our flowery musk. I want to celebrate the tremble of your arms roped around my slight but stubborn frame. I want to celebrate the camera that captured our parking lot embrace, not for what it took from us, but for what it preserved, vouchered, and filed in an evidence box, time-stamped in love. And that's it.
Ooh,
Right. That's a
lovely,
lot.
Evelyn.
That's a
Ooh,
lot.
that's beautiful.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
A
Super.
stamp of love. It's nice.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Evelyn. Thank you so
Evelyn.
much for your trifecta.
Okay. Now, we're about to close the first round, and you're all invited to participate in the second. We'll take a brief break. Before we do, I want to repeat what I said earlier to the early birds. In a day or so, I will send you messages. You can all access the Angora Poet World Cafe website. And you can expect that after every evening that we do this, we will pick a different poet to highlight on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our website. And the other thing is that for next week, I've been contacted by a high school teacher who is motivating his students to write poetry. And I have invited him to forward some of his high school poets who he feels are actually composing, the poetry. So I invited him to forward those poets so that we can lay that out and include younger voices, because we need to carry the inspiration to the young, huh? So there's that. Okay, so I'm going to do my third poem right now, and I read it last week when we got cut off and there was 4 of us. So I'll read it again tonight when there's more of us. And this is called How Much. How many jobless, how many homeless, how many helpless, how many hopeless, how much? How many useless, how many lifeless, how many soulless, how many clueless, how much? How many labor, how many give, how many sacrifice, how many pay, how much? How many no? How many never? How many nothing? How many not? How much? How many home runs? How many touchdowns? How many three-point ducks from the center court line? How many medals? How much? How many churches? How many prayers? How many vows? How many pledges? How much? How many insults? How many lies? How many hypocrites? How many forked tongues? How much? How many shutdowns? How many setbacks? How many roadblocks? How many getbacks? How much? How many lies? How many myths? How many false promises? How many false witnesses? How much? How many hungry? How many sickly? How many lonely? How many gone? How much? How many restricted? How many evicted? How many convicted? How many shot down? How much? How many rights denied? How many laws ignored? How many morals dumped? How many ethics thumped? How much? How many corporate crimes? How many elections rigged? How many media lies? How many freedoms stripped? How much? How many fat rats? How many roaches back? How many slum lords? How many drug attacks? How much? How many welfare lines? How many bad times? How many hate crimes? How many kangaroo courts? How much? How many held back? How many shot down? How many not found? How many death bound? How much? How many bullets? How many cops? How many prisons? How many wars? How much? How many Detroits? How many Camptons? How many Comptons? How many Youngstowns? How much? How many love songs? How many blues songs? How many jazz riffs? How many poems? How much? How many cries? How many times? How long is long is long is long enough? How hard is hard is hard? How much? How many tired of poor? How many take no more? How many to change that score? How many break down that door? When?
Lovely. Lovely.
Bravo, Mo. Bravo. Powerful.
Bravo. Well done, Mo.
Lovely.
It's wonderful this week.
Okay.
Lovely, 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 lovely.
Cheers, salute.
Okay, so
They are
that's
all quantified, so it's good.
okay. Okay, so that'll be the end of the first round, and what we normally do is just chat for a few minutes, then come back on for the second round. And as I say, everyone who is here is invited to read again in the second round. So I'm gonna get me a drink of water and chat on. Chat on.
Oh. Hey, Karen Scott.
That last poem makes me think about accountability. You know, we're a bunch, especially I'm sitting here in Europe, but the Americans, you know, they're a bunch of bean counters. There's so much bean counting going on, and it's not getting distributed very evenly. And I got to imagine that it's because of that bean counting, that accountability. It's like, I don't even know. I think the question that Mo just asked about when is pretty apropos. I think it's now. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gene,
absolutely.
But Gene, saying that, you're attacking America's religion. You know what that religion is, right?
Money.
Yeah.
Power.
Well, you know, I'm going to hearken back to one of the poetic references earlier today about cotton. And, you know, I know Mo spoke to the cotton industry in the United States, the history of enslavement of Africans who forcibly migrated to the United States. You know, you've got to understand the history of cotton. Cotton is money. Cotton is money. They used to trade cotton like money. The American dollar is made out of cotton, literally. I'm not kidding you. I am not joking one iota. This is all about cotton. I'm so deep into this right now. I can't imagine if you knew my real life, you would just understand why I'm headed to the streets, because there's only one place for people who understand, right? And that's the streets right now. The streets is the only place to be, because the British went into India. They took all the cotton, brought it to the Africans. They loved all the colorful cottons. They sold their children. The Europeans just boarded them on, throw them onto ships and created that whole triangular relationship. It's awful. We got to stop it. We got to stop trading cotton. We got to we got to understand how it is, and it's time for reparations, baby. Reparations, if you know what I mean.
And another thing is that hemp is so much better, a material that's so much better for clothing.
Yeah.
Hemp is good anyways.
Do you know that hemp was the largest, was in fact, before cotton and the Mississippi, the whole triangular crap that happened down in Mississippi, hemp was in fact the largest crop in the United States for producing clothing. And because when you're in the northern latitudes, hemp is the plant that really delivers. It delivers your clothing, it delivers your medicine, it's a plant that we should all be really, anybody who's in any hemisphere that's off of the equator, and believe me, more people are going to go off the equator than you can imagine. We're about to see 1 billion people start migrating into hemp world. I'm not joking.
Yeah, well, my name is Strangmeyer. You know what that means in German?
We're listening.
I'm listening.
Hemp farmer.
There you go.
Oh.
Look out. Oh.
Ah, it's in your blood.
Imagine that.
So what's the news? What's the feelings elsewhere on anything?
What'd you say, Mo? I didn't hear you.
I said, what's new and what's the feeling anywhere on this board?
I don't know. I did my rant earlier today.
You know, I gotta.
Hold on, Gene. Hold on. Let's see. Who else has something to say here? Okay. Nobody?
I've been
Good,
wanting. Actually, there's I actually wanted to. This is probably something that I should talk to you one-on-one, Mo. But I've actually been wanting to publish a to get around publishing a chapbook, like my own chapbook. But I have no idea the ways to go about doing that, and I was hoping, like anyone here who was experienced in that field, to perhaps guide me.
You should talk to Jack.
Jack.
Yeah.
You can talk to any number of us, actually, beginning with Jack, who have published who have published a number of books, including chapbooks. I don't see why you can't, Mo. I mean,
He published me.
Okay.
I was Red Potter, published 2 of my books.
All right. There we go. See?
Meowku and the Cupcake Chronicles.
Well, Jack, we hear your name, man. And I can send you to my publisher, Onslaught Press, with a manuscript. And I'm sure on this board, you might get more than a couple leads.
Okay, because I have no idea what the process is like or anything. I've been too involved in the tech world and very little involvement in the print world, and I have no idea.
Well, I think that print is local, baby. Local. It's about hand to hand.
Well, one thing's good about print now, just like digital, vinyl made a comeback, right? Vinyl rules among many people.
Yeah.
And people are even buying old phones, believe it or not, old Nokias, and getting off smartphones all day, taking the buzz out of their ear and out of their palm. So there seems to be a popularity. There is a popularity again in both physical printed books and self-made books. You know, handmade books are making a comeback. We have it going on in Paris. I know it in New York, in other places. You know,
Self-published books, is that what you're saying? Like,
no, it's self-made. I mean, actually, where people are doing their own drawings and cutting the paper and designing them.
wow.
Yeah, and handicraft. So that's also going on.
Imagine that.
I'm just mentioning that as an also.
Yeah, I have a book that'll be coming out next towards the end of the year. That'll be like that, handmade, and
yeah.
You know, who are the patrons? Who are the patrons of the people who make things by hand? That's the key. I think making it by hand is where it's at, and then it's about who's gonna see the value of that.
Well, the patrons are the people who buy them. Simply, that's who the patrons are. They're the people who buy them. And so, you know, only 1 in a million poets ever gets wealthy out of writing poetry. So one should prepare for that in advance, you know. I mean, so that's going on too, you know.
Maybe on Mother's Day we should ask where the matrons are. The matrons.
I think if money or monetary value is the pursuit of poets, I think the business has become so saturated to the point where like they have to be more than just a published poet. All the popular poets that I'm aware of who have some kind of notoriety and you know some maybe they're getting 6 figures, I don't know. They also have TV appearances and commercials that they do with certain brands and stuff like that. It's no longer the person, the wordsmith who just writes and shares things. Like he also has to be a social media celebrity of some kind. I don't know. And
Well, you need to. Yeah, go ahead, Amy.
Sorry, Mo.
No, go.
I just show you. Where's my book here? I self-published this. Okay, I would just wanted to try the market. All right. And of course I'm editing for my next collection, but this book I've sold already more than 150, you know, and that one I sold via PayPal and it's gone international, Berlin, everywhere, Canada, America, everywhere, you know. That's self-published, you know. So and but of course, the next one, I'm doing a collection whereby I will go via a publisher. That one, I'm just testing the market, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Just to let you know. But, you know, of course, you have to do your own publicity. You do your own radio interview. You do your own, you know, you have your social media. And you're good with social media anyway, you know.
Yeah.
So, but, well, in any case, you know, I'm sure we can connect. You can connect me on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
And Mo is your you know, your mentor. He can assist you with that as well, you know, to all the publishing or whatever, you know. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of people right on this screen here that can give you advice. So you know how to contact Mo right through our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and any ideas or aid you could offer. There's the guy, and I'll certainly offer you a little bit of my experience, Mo, because
we can share our experience with you.
Awesome.
And we can assist you with the publicity or whatever.
Because,
you know,
and have faith, because you know there was one guy who had to self-publish 6 editions before he became globally famous. I know somebody's going to know who that is. He published 6 editions before he finally got picked up by a proper publisher and became globally famous. Walt Whitman, The Leaves of Grass. The establishment, Emerson told him he was too loose with his morals and his sexuality. And so Whitman, in so many words, told him to fuck off, that he wasn't going to trade. He wasn't going to trade the soul of his poetry for acceptance into the Yankee New England clique. He was going to, you know, and so he self-published 6 copies of Leaves of Grass.
Amazing.
And while he was condemned in the States for breaking rules, he had a small group of people in England who were sending him money to help him pay the rent and eat all the way to the end of his days.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you can do it, Mo.
All right.
Yeah, man, you do it. You do it. And don't be disturbed by people who you see in the media, because some of them are really good, and some of them just play it. They just fill a popularity niche. You know, it's like rap.
Yeah.
So many people are putting boring shit out, and the industry knows it ain't gonna cause any damage to the way it wants to run the culture and run the world. So they get promoted. You know,
Yeah.
don't even stay away from those people.
Yeah,
They
you
got
get a lot of
nothing to offer.
reviews from your book. Yeah, get a lot of reviews, and just go on and you're out there.
Mo, are you sending your work? Are you sending your work out to publishers? Your poems? Are you?
No, all I've done is perform them in small in basis. But
Okay. You really need to start sending your work out to build up your reputation, because that's once they start, your work starts showing up in these anthologies and what have you, and people start becoming familiar with your name, and at a certain point they'll just start asking you to send them work as opposed to you seeking them out.
Yeah,
So just make a habit of submitting your work. And
he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Send it out to everywhere, and accept those who don't accept. May reject it. Just keep knocking on them doors, man. Getting yourself exposed.
That's
and Mo.
I send my stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
It's
I got
true.
no, we don't want you, but sometimes they say yes. So
Keep trying. Keep trying. Yeah.
I mean,
Luchador Press is a very good press.
One thing. I'm in France because I wrote a love poem to Nicaragua in the middle of the Contra War when I was there as a working journalist, and I came away with a love poem that in the U.S. they censored, and somebody was in the audience in a hotel one night during a mortar attack in Managua from the French Ministry of Culture. And next thing I know, while it was censored in the United States, it was published in 2 languages here in France by the Ministry of Culture. And that's how I ended up in France. It was I hardly had the plane fare, and it was certainly worth coming over. So you just get your stuff out there.
Another thing, more make sure that you have an editor. Just go through your work and make sure that before you send out. Then yeah.
She'll be the chapbook will be done somewhere by the end of July. Because I'm still I still want to add at least 3 more poems that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
So I'm giving myself another month before I finish it.
How many pieces?
I was thinking for 40 is a good number. I'm not sure if
Too much.
Yeah.
Way too much for a chapbook. Yeah. Way too much.
How much?
You listen. Here's the beauty of
it depends on the
chapbook.
publisher, but when you get started, you should send out what you think is your best stuff singularly.
True.
As Prince was saying, that's absolutely right.
True.
And then it depends on the publisher about how thick it's going to be. And usually your first book is like Prince is saying, your first book is usually not that thick because the publisher is investing money in an industry where most publishers are not making money anyway.
Yeah.
How many pages am I looking at?
Think of this. Okay, you can actually get away with anywhere from 17 to 30 or under 30. And the beauty of it is, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but when your chapbook, the poems from your chapbook, when you're ready to do a full collection, which is 30 and over, you can use those poems again.
Yes.
Yeah, you just
so
keep
it's like you're being paid for the same poems, for the same poems twice. That's the strategy the beauty and strategy behind chapbooks is because it gives people a sample of who you are.
Yeah.
And once you come out with that.
But then where do you send it to?
Well,
Because
anyway,
you know it's not everywhere
how
that you
about
can
this?
send it to.
Since we're going to a second round, how about all these suggestions coming up tonight and tomorrow, okay, on our Facebook message page, and let's address these suggestions to everyone who has them. Okay, to everyone who has them. The last thing to be said is look at who's publishing things that sound like you're writing.
There you go.
Go
Yeah,
where
there you
you're
go. There you go,
wanted.
Mo. Yeah,
And then go where you're wanted. Wow, they talk like they write like I write, and send it to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
True.
But how would you know that they write like you write?
You have to read samples of their work.
You have to
You
read.
go to the publisher.
Yeah.
Samples of their work.
Yeah.
Are you
That's
sure
what you do.
everything that they post
Okay.
If they're doing haikus, you don't want to come with narrative. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's one school that wants just personal existential work, where they want no association at all beyond one's own existential existence. If that's you, you're there. More and more publishers are reaching out now, finally pushing back on that bourgeois consensus that got wrapped up in the 70s.
Yeah.
Where you can speak on virtue, like for you women right now. I know poetry contests that are open to everybody, and I know right well that the judges are predetermined. We want a woman published, and we want a woman printed. It says earlier, and there are certain identity groups, this is called now, that have an advantage with certain publishers and poetry contests. So take that as an advantage.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on to the second round.
All right, Mo, we gave you an earful. Okay.
It's not about the earful. It's like I have a sleeping disorder, but I still want to try to sleep early. So.
All right. Well, since you got a sleeping disorder, and since it's the latest hour in our day for you in Abu Dhabi, why don't you begin the second round, Mo?
All right. Come 2022, we will mourn the leave of a visitor who didn't cherry-pick between the rich and the poor. Celebrities will flood the scenes and become the scenes that bind humanity in controversies more viral than COVID-19 could ever hope to be. Blatant ignorance will no longer be a fatal mistake. In fact, blatant ignorance maketh money. Pat the doctor's back. Let the hospital admin know he's gonna need it. His muscle memory sore with memories of souls wheezing in and out of the medical ward, for better or dead. There'll be skeletons he'll be carrying back to his closet, and post-traumatic stress disorder will be the voice whispering from under his pillow like a mistress. While we're still in 2020, steady with every penny we'd usually spend on petty reasons, watching the seasons change behind window panes, the rain falling like it's happy to be itself for once, people parading every 10 p.m. and cheering for the things they took for granted only a few months ago. Let us celebrate the better virgins we've become. Let us learn to be kind to ourselves by doing what we love. Let us learn to love even though love is sometimes very hard to sit next to. Learn to love even if your soul feels like it's about to pull a muscle. And for the love of God, learn to sleep. A hustle can be a rotten carrot on a stick, and for the love of God, and I can't believe I'm saying this, wash your hands.
I'd publish that in a minute. I would publish that in a minute.
Bravo, Mo.
Okay. How about you, Amy? Would you like to go next, Miss Amy Berry?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, I have this. Okay, Jack Kerouac says that we were all delighted. We all realized we were leaving confusion and nonsense behind and performing our one and noble function of the time. Move. Okay, so this is my poem. Vivid. My life is not prepared for this uncertainty. I am torn between a veiled image of reality and a dazzling clear vision of him spangling my heart. I clasped him close to me, searching for a hint of our future. I call for help in my thought, but I have no answer. Our lips meet for how long, I do not know. I'm led from lip to undiscovered places, through a sense of touch, to see beyond, to something nebulous, to something we crave, to something exquisite and uplifting, beyond the hills, the skies, the seas. I want to hold that kiss, so nothing around us can change. Merci, thank you. That's all more.
Okay, thank you.
Very good,
Well,
Amy.
Thank you.
Very good.
How about you, Patricia?
Too bad, you weren't here. I would serve everybody my food. I have a whole pile for the next 3 days.
I'll be right over.
Yeah, please. I just wish COVID would be over. I miss having people coming up. Carrie, you were here and all that. Okay.
I wrote down your recipe, Patricia.
Tired. I'm just creating things that go along.
I was watching.
Yeah. I need more spice in the lentils.
Ah.
I need a little more kick. I'm learning. Almost blue. My mood grows quiet, jazzy, almost blue. I'm like robin's eggs, nighttime, or the Adriatic Sea, closer to the wild Baptisia australis, or Aegina's doorway, non-existent in a Crayola box or on a Pantone chart, almost blue. Only I can see, hear, or feel. My color has a face, a voice, a trumpet's grief, a heartbeat, slow and broken, and eyes, ears, and hands articulate more than words. Thank you. I was inspired by Chet Baker, I think his name, Chet.
The trumpet player?
Pendulum, yeah. He does the trumpet here.
Chet
Baker. Yes.
Well, that
Excellent
bops. Put some bop on that. All right.
Yeah.
How about you, Rachel? How are you feeling?
Yeah, okay. I'll have a go with another one. I'm reading it off my laptop and I'm looking at you all on my phone. So this poem is called Dandelions. I looked into a garden full of dandelions and saw you as if for the first time. Were it not for the negative power of prejudice, you could be as worthy as those famous daffodils of Wordsworth. I wondered who had named you weed, you with your chrysanthemum face, who feeds your nectar to the bees, for you could not be other than generous in your abundance. You who dot the landscape and colour the grass, as if you were laughing out loud, defying in glee the upper cross lawn, whose owners are intent on exterminating you, who tells you that you are a gaudy mob defiling her regal countenance. In your joyful gaiety, you are sublime in your divinity.
Well done.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Namaste.
Why do they call them weeds?
Beautiful.
All right. We are rocking it. Can we rock it with Rhett? Rhett Masilio.
Unmute, all right. Let me just find what I'm going to read. Okay, and as I said, I'm going to read 3 poems about my mother. My mother's calendar. Okay. We have learned to abide by our mother's language and by her calendar when we're in her presence. Every time she mentions him, it's to relate a part of life to the years when he was with us. Old has become when your father was alive. And some of us have begun to speak like her too, the same way we began to love people after observing her. Now is since he died. And we even hear what she does not dare say, and left me behind. Our mother looks like her mother, and my sisters look like her. The boys in my family all look like each other and yearn to take after him. In the future, or soon, is fast becoming the day I am with your father and you are free at last. Even though she set us free at birth, just after she had handed each of us to the midwife for cleaning, and we had been returned to her arms for the first breakfast of our lives. That was the first one. And the second one, am I audible?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's very quiet. That's why I asked. The curse. And I should add perhaps that this is a true story. A few years back, 2 years ago, I visited my mother at home in Lesotho, and she told me this, and I wrote a poem about it. The curse. She decided to hoe the garden, though tired and only able to shuffle when she walks. That place in front near her gate is a shrine to beauty, a woman's monument. A few minutes afterward, she found a cat buried between two flower gushes. Its open mouth snarled with the tines of its teeth, eyes dangling outside near its face like grape nuts. In Lesotho, we inter cats in yards of people we hate. It is said the owner of that garden dies when the cat rots, and its fur comes off in the hand like the hair of a cancer patient. She called Datemusia her gardener. A man of the word, he poured prayer and incantation on the beast before lifting it out of its grave and holding it up by the tail. They filled its grave with mulch and sand, then went inside to wash and scrub their hands with caustic soda and more prayer, never wondering how that cat might have died, but heartened by the knowledge that there would be no new deaths. Its killer had loved it enough to believe in its power to slay, even as it was slowly dying itself, its eyes bulging from the force of two strong hands choking its neck, pushing the orbs out of it. That was the second poem.
Thank you. I think we're being quiet because your work is so solemn.
All right, okay. For a moment I got scared. I thought I was alone.
No.
No, it's good.
You were
No.
on mute.
We're
Okay.
listening intently.
It's making me cry. Sorry. Sorry, it's making me cry.
Oh, no, that's not the intention.
I love cats.
My mother holds in her right hand. My mother holds in her right hand a cane that holds her up, and weight from the memory of 1970. Long after the son has died, even as death weighs and smells her like a buyer in the fruit section at ShopRite, among the melons, grapefruit, and mangoes, trucked from another country's clemency, she shuffles through the hallways of our minds, opening doors to rooms to make windows in there, let air in to chase torpor away, aware of the presence of the buyer of lives. Sometimes she finds that going in and touching all things brings the self-peace. Sometimes she just sneers from the door, peering at the blankness with her mind. The empty rooms cower in corners. She taught us along memories that link dying and living rooms into a den we meet in for matters of grave significance, shaking the earth with us till those that lie at the bottom of this country come up for a while, for air to deaden their wounds. We had talked the other day about heat that beats skulls. Yesterday about going to weed the graves, the same that cling to us like newborns, and for which our heart burns. One day we shall cut every tie with them. Her oyster eyes gleam at the prospect, her face an anchor beyond the vile thing. Soon we will sit again at the table of departure when the time for me to leave arrives, regarding each other and reliving things. Before my last day, we'll go to the graves with spades and rakes to clear the edges, weed the perimeter around each slab, then rinse our hands and utensils in lichala juice before the lone walk home. The way those men had left that time before the last dawn of Quadin, after they had dipped my nephew in blood and written the history of our family with his name, though not before they had wiped their hands and tools with his bedclothes. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. What a great tribute.
You're welcome.
What a great legacy to your mother and father.
Very emotional.
What a great
Your
legacy.
loving mom.
Thank you for sharing.